Asteroid City is my personal favorite and my personal pick for Best Picture of the year if I were to do my own award show.
So before you get into it, because I really want to hear your opinion, I'm gonna ask you a bunch. I have questions about it because I didn't see Asteroid City.
Damn.
And I'll tell you why I didn't see Asteroid City. First of all, I did want to see it. I missed it. You know, things were happening at the time. I missed it. But you know, I always want to see everything. Wes Anderson's one of my. I always love Wes Anderson.
Yeah.
Fantastic Mr. Fox is one of my favorite movies ever. Like, I love Wes Anderson. I love Royal Tenenbaums. I love basically pretty much every movie he's made. I haven't seen all of them. There's still a few I haven't seen, but most of the movies I've seen from him, I love. I did not like The French Dispatch.
Yeah, me neither.
When I saw The French Dispatch, when I saw Asteroid City, I kind of was just like, all right, he's doing his Wes Anderson thing where it's kind of like his, you know, this has been said before, but it's like a Wes Anderson movie on crack now. Like, if you watch The Royal Tenenbaums, and then you watch, which came out in 2000 or 2001, you see that movie, and then you see him now with Asteroid City and like Grand Budapest Hotel, the symmetry, the color patterns, like it's all just crazy now. And it's like a Wes Anderson movie on crack.
Yeah.
I think that's the reason, because I disliked French Dispatch. I just didn't like it. I tried to like it, and I was just like, I just don't think I liked French Dispatch. And that kind of turned away from Asteroid City just a bit. And I think that's why I didn't see it. I wasn't rushing to go see it. But yes, please say Asteroid City, because I've heard this opinion. Some people thought it was bad on Variety, I think, magazine.
Yeah.
It was like one of the films, but there were a ton of people very upset with that list. And there are a lot of fans of Asteroid City.
So, first, I'll say, going off what you said, French Dispatch, I fucking hate that movie. And I think it was such a disappointment, especially because the trailer was fantastic.
Yeah.
I just don't like that sort of short story is what makes up the movie, because that's ultimately what it was.
Very short story, yeah.
And I will say, too, the other short films that he released this year, that were based off the Roald Dahl stories, not good. I didn't appreciate them. I mean, visually they're great, but like I felt the same way about those as I did the French Dispatch, and that's after I saw Asteroid City. But Asteroid City, I think the best way to put it, truthfully, is it's not my favorite Wes Anderson, and I don't think it's anyone's favorite Wes Anderson movie.
Yeah, but I mean, there's a lot of good Wes Anderson movies. So,
yeah.
You know.
But I think it's his best, most complete body of work. Let me tell you why.
Go ahead.
So, he definitely, compared to French Dispatch, he stays true to sort of the youthful nature of like his earlier films and kind of the almost less professional feel. Because French Dispatch, that's the best way I could say, is like it felt almost too professional from him in a way. And I think he also added a different sense of maturity at the same time with this film Asteroid City. And like at the same time, it's like the most Wes Anderson movie, like you're saying, like it's a Wes Anderson movie on crack, but it's also different from anything else he's done. I mean, you know, I think overall the movie is a commentary on our world and how it is. Like a lot of these movies, honestly, on our lists are. And I think it's his perspective on it, but I also think it's a commentary on his world in the movie itself. And basically this whole idea, no spoilers, but the whole idea is there's something in the plot that one of the characters questions. Like, what's the point of this? I don't get it. Like in the movie, the character's like that. And then he comes to a conclusion, and it's not a conclusion explaining what it represents in the story, but it's a conclusion of that it doesn't matter what it represents. And that's like, obviously you haven't seen it, so it might be hard for you to follow what I'm saying, But with that ideology and kind of what he's commenting on, because at the end of the day, it's a Wes Anderson alien movie.
Yeah.
And but the alien in the movie is so much more that he's probably intending, like
Mhm.
for what it comes across as, I guess. So like it's very symbolism based, and that's the way I read it. I watched this movie twice in theaters, and I really like the idea that like it's almost like he's saying the audience's opinion doesn't matter, because if it's a good story, it's a good story. But at the same time, it's like our opinion on politics or, you know, COVID, political tensions, all these things that almost seem like world ending. It's
Mhm.
like, oh, well, we're living a good life
Yeah.
still at the end of the day. And listen, I went a little too deep there, but
No.
it really, really moved me. And I will also say, too, that I watched it and really liked it. And then I left and sat at home and I was like, damn, I really fucking liked that movie.
Yeah.
And then when I went to see it with my dad, because I saw it with my friend first, and I went to see it with my dad, and it was pretty much the same thing. He was in there. He's like, "Yeah, great movie." And then he, my dad never does this sort of thing. He came to me the next day. He's like, "Dude, that was a really good movie." Like
Yeah.
usually that's like he doesn't say really good. He just says, "Yeah, pretty good." And
Yeah.
so like,
I totally understand that feeling.
yeah. And also, what was so nice was that at the end of this, the theater experience for me was great because I went to the bathroom after, obviously that's what you do at a theater. So I was in the bathroom, and one of my favorite things about a movie is going to the bathroom and hearing everyone like talk about what they just saw.
Yeah.
And it's been so long since it's been like non-superhero related,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and there were people younger than me, which was awesome to see,
Mhm.
totally mansplaining this in the bathroom, but I was just like, yeah, I love it. Like I love that people were moved by it to the point where they wanted to talk about it after. And I would say, to compare this to another director's movie that has a large catalog of, critically acclaimed films, I would say that Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Tarantino's film,
Mhm.
this is like Wes Anderson's Once Upon a Time, in the sense that Once Upon a Time is, when you look at it, it's completely different from other Tarantinos while also being the most Tarantino movie. And that's like how I feel about Asteroid City.
I think that's a really good way of kind of summing up what you just said, right? So why do you think like there were people that didn't really like it? Because they're clearly like if it's on Variety's worst films of the year, clearly there was a thing with I think maybe non Wes Anderson fans or generic. Like, what do you think turned people off, or some people off to it? Because it's not everybody. Let me make that clear.
Yeah.
The film didn't do poorly critically. Like it has like something percent on Rotten Tomatoes that's fresh. Pretty much every Wes Anderson fan I know liked it or loved it. So I think, what do you think the average moviegoer didn't get from it,
Well,
in your opinion?
yeah, I'll give you the first answer that comes to mind, and then I'll give you a real answer. The first answer is people are stupid, like I said before. But my my second answer is ultimately, similarly to French Dispatch, he is going for a new approach on how his stories are structured. And it's almost like Oppenheimer too, in the sense of multiple stories are going on at the same time that are ultimately the same story. So like this isn't really a spoiler, but there's the story that's Asteroid City, but Asteroid City itself is a play.
Mhm.
So we see the characters that are doing the play, and that's like all black and white shots, and then we see the characters that are in the play also played by the same characters. So it's like I feel like sometimes someone might have seen that and been a little confused or maybe a little overwhelmed with all of it. Um, But other than that, dude, I honestly don't understand why. I mean, I think that it is not only a great, Wes Anderson refresher almost, but it's like it's super funny, and it's utilizing new cast members that he doesn't normally work with, like Bryan Cranston, and I'm trying to think, Scarlett Johansson. I don't think he's ever worked with before.
Yep.
Um, Steve Carell was fantastic,
Mhm.
and it's a very feel good story, I'd say. I think another criticism probably that people have is that the characters maybe aren't as like he's focuses on all the characters in this, whereas like Fantastic Mr. Fox at the end of the day is Fantastic Mr. Fox,
Yeah, yeah.
and maybe that's people's problem with it. But I think people just misunderstood, and I think people are stupid. That's
Well,
what I think at the end of the day.
and to be fair to other viewers, like there are movies that you see for the first time and you're like, didn't quite get that. And then you see it again and you're like, huh, I missed that the first time. And then, but there's a lot of people who don't even try that second time. They just don't even give it a
Yeah,
chance.
and
So,
that's I think, like how I said, it's one that you sit on. I think a lot of people decided to just block it from their memory after they saw it. And like I had a buddy, he wanted to see it, and I had already seen it, and so we saw it, and I said to him, I think it's his best movie. Maybe not my favorite, but I think it technically and
mm.
creatively speaking, it's his best. And after he was like, "You're on crack. Like that's not his best movie at all." And then he texts me a couple days later. He's like, "I just watched it again, and I think you're right." So it's definitely one you gotta watch a couple times, and
And some
I
people
could,
freaking hate doing that, man. They really do.
yeah,
But people
and
who
I get
love
it, but
movies, man, like us,
yeah,
looking like Sopranos.
yeah,
But yeah, so I think that was important to discuss because I did not know your number one. I didn't see Asteroid City, but now like hearing you talk about it makes me really want to see it.